perhaps inspired by the struggle going on to win the First Division Championship by so many clubs, among them Tottenham Hotspur, who played this morning's leaders Southampton, and Manchester United in third place, who visited Notts County.
Tonight's headlines: Manchester City and England striker Trevor Francis is sent off for the first time in his career, accused of butting Everton defender Billy Wright. And England captain Kevin Keegan of Southampton, the most famous face in British football, is refused entry to the Players' Lounge at Tottenham because he didn't have a ticket. And now the headline you'll be reading tomorrow. The News of the World report that Diego Maradona, the brilliant 21-year-old Argentinian World Cup star, could be playing for Arsenal next season.
So we start this evening's excitement at White Hart Lane for the match between two of the most skillful championship contenders, Tottenham Hotspur and Southampton. And while Spurs were surviving narrowly in the European Cup Winners' Cup competition last week, Southampton were marking time with a couple of matches in the Dubai sunshine. There was no sunshine at White Hart Lane, but over 46,000 people and an unexpected feathery visitor provided sufficient background warmth for a stirring 90 minutes. Your commentator was Barry Davis.
Well, I don't know if Graham Roberts has ambitions. I'm sure he does have ambitions to go to Spain. And so the Tottenham team is that which ended the match against Frankfurt, a match which they lost, but won in going into the semi-finals of the Cup Winners' Cup on goal aggregate. But changes in the Southampton lineup. You recall, after an absence of 10 games of Steve Williams, he wears the number 9 shirt, and Rugen Agbula is at number 2 because Ivan Golak has a calf injury. So a match totally about the 3 points. For neither side would it be success if this game is drawn. It would only help the other challengers. Steve Perriman to Glenn Hoddle, whose goal ended the hopes of Eintracht Frankfurt. Paul Miller, whose goal here in the first leg was so important. Here's the other Paul, Price. Nicol, Baker, Wardren. Hazard makes the run. The first verdict goes against Ricky Villa. Williams at the moment playing well forward. Hoddle. Free kick given against Agbula. Agbula playing the role alongside Nicol at the back, and Armstrong in particular from midfield tucking in. And that's tending to frustrate Tottenham on the edge of the box. All the midfield players from Southampton are putting covering as their main priority. But they're also coming out well. Tottenham have a free kick. When Hoddle takes it, there's always a possibility, but not this time. Here's Hazard. Nicol. Southampton ball. Keegan, Price at his back. That's in, and it's awkward, and is, I was going to say very well held, but he deserved the luck that he got at the end, because it was a very difficult one, coming over his head, forcing him to turn. And he almost took it cleanly, but not quite. Well up by Nicol. Hazard. Villa. Huddle. Not too much width again, except Houghton. And Huddle, aware of that fact, comes to Villa. Well, it's a good job that one didn't go in, otherwise all goal competitions would have ceased at that point. On the full by Huddle, out to Houghton, straight back by Houghton, and well wide finally by Ricky Villa. Keegan. A little strain of the neck muscles, but he didn't really make a contact. Oh, save. And that's in spite of being kicked. Perryman, Villa. Perryman. Hazard. Well taken by Archibald. And the goalkeeper got down well. Hazard, who found Archibald. Archibald did a lot himself. And Katalinic had to adjust his position a bit. Got down well to his left. Shoulder to shoulder. Huddle. Perfectly weighted for Galvin. Hasn't found his crossing form yet. Villa. Huddle. Hazard waits. Archibald waits. Villa waits to the left. And he's got away. Huddle. Roberts! And Huddle turns to look for Roberts, and Roberts for Huddle. Patient stuff from Tottenham. And finally rewarded. But Agbula lost his challenge on Roberts. He got inside him and scored as a result. So I think feelings of relief as much as joy around White Hart Lane. And it had been difficult for Tottenham. Southampton playing it very cannily. And they're going to get the free kick, which Roberts prevents being quickly taken. Holmes. Out by Price. Villa. Agbula. Galvin. And good stop from Agbula. Took off to deny Hazard, who was behind him. And one can sense that the crowd feel that Tottenham have now started to roll. Price and Roberts forward. Here's Villa. And the corner. Graham Roberts in the foreground there. His goal said an awful lot about the player. Sheer determination to get there first. And he wants it again. And he might just get it. He has. He didn't strike it true, if truth be told, but it was good enough. So 2 goals in 2 minutes for Spurs, 2 goals in 2 minutes for Graham Roberts. And he was left all alone. He didn't get hold of it, truly. But it brought smiles on the Tottenham bench and all around the ground. Not least on the face of Roberts himself. The whole atmosphere of the game and the ground has suddenly changed. Nicol. Agbula. Shannon. determined enough by both players. Ball. Shannon. Promising. Keegan. Shannon. And it was well thumped by Armstrong. There was a key challenge by Miller just before that. Bowler and Hazard. Price. Keegan. Certainly doing his best to galvanise the side. Alan Ball hasn't found his touch yet. Villa away from him cleanly. All possibilities here for Tottenham. Archibald's wasn't a particularly good ball. And Southampton now back in some numbers. Villa. Huddle. Villa gets applause, but a simple and better pass in the first place might have produced a goal. Galvin. Waldron times the challenge. And predictably, Roberts is already well forward. Corner quickly taken. Houghton. Roberts. Off the crossbar. Well, if he doesn't get a hat-trick, it certainly won't be through want of trying. It was a curling header which beat the goalkeeper and smacked off the crossbar. Galvin. Hazard. Came off Akbula for the corner. Miller, number 3, prepared for the run. And in comes Roberts again! Really fine save. But what are Southampton doing about it? He's got the freedom of the ground wherever he goes, particularly if it's in the penalty area. Every time somebody tries to mark him, they just are lost by him. Price, Archibald. And finally away by Baker. Huddle. Southampton are being torn to shreds here. Huddle, too high. Tottenham go away to great applause, and how the game changed as a result of the first goal scored by Graham Roberts, made by the man following him off, Glenn Hoddle. And Roberts getting a second, and Southampton, who started in very canny style and caused problems to the Tottenham defence, go off to try and sort out a very difficult situation. Players greeted by heavy rain and a certain amount of hail. The spectators have already improvised where necessary. And it's Tottenham now attacking the goal to our left at the start of the second half. It eases up just in time for the game to get underway. Here's Paul Price. His problems in the early moments of the match. Nicol. Southampton have scored 53 goals to be the top league scorers in the First Division. And the reserves are on top of their league with 73, but First team has now gone 2.5 matches since they last scored. And he found the way through because of the bender. Roberts. Oh, so he's done it! Vicious bounce for the goalkeeper, Katalinic. Just look at that smile. A hat-trick. A ball to be collected afterwards. And a fine performance. Took his time, and when he shot, the bounce was really unkind to Katalinic. The thing which will perhaps please Graham Roberts most is that he's a Southampton lad and they let him go. Two spies from Leicester, Mark Wallington and Eddie Kelly in the back row there. I wonder what they feel about it. Archibald ran a bit for him, but he made it work. Villa. Waldron who turned it away. Hazard. Huddle. It was a stumble and a shot at the same time. Trying to get over the ball. And there's a face that has seen an awful lot happening in front of him and not been able to do too much about what's gone past him. With the help of the constabulary. A very polite policeman too, took his cap off, his hat off to give the ball back. And he's struggling a bit, Waldron. But he was lent on too much by a bit of Argentine beef. Ball. Shannon. Agbula. So I think this young man is going to be a very good player. Shannon, here he is again, Agbula. That's nice. This is Waldron. Baker. 3-1. So Graham Baker celebrates his 100th league appearance with a goal in the 56th minute of the match. Move started by Agbula just inside Tottenham's half, and it was well worked down the right, involving Waldron, and Baker took his time to put it in. Ossie Ardiles is entitled to feel that Tottenham will be able to manage without him for the time he goes to Argentina. Baker. Roberts. Huddle. There's Armstrong. He's done a fair bit of work trying to follow him. It's a good ball by Miller, nicely weighted, beautifully inside by Perriman to Galvin. And it ends with a spectacular save from Katalinic. Some good play by the defenders. First by Miller, then by Perriman, who laid it beautifully to Galvin, who hit it strongly, and Katalinic catapulted himself into the air. Villa coming for the short one. And it's played nicely to Galvin, who brings out another high-flying save from Katalinic. Same player denied both times. He's seen it all before, many times. I think it was a push and possibly a call as well, but certainly a push by Roberts. Keegan. And he's got away from Paul Miller. Shannon wants it far post. Up comes Armstrong. And it was gathered in. Fourth goal of the match coming in the 55th minute. Southampton are going to introduce David Packard into the fray, and he's going to replace Alan Ball. So it's a last gamble by Laurie McManamy. Packett's first touch. Miller offside against Ricky Villa. Nickel. Baker. For Keegan. It's promising. Oh, and it came off the ground and up and off the crossbar. Keegan looking heavenwards. Baker, who played him in beautifully. And then the luck with Clements. I think that expression was aimed at Ricky Shannon. Interesting thing about Ray Clements, how much he's enjoying his football. Hazard, Archibald, and Keegan is offside. Villa. Model to the square, didn't call for it. This is Chris Houghton who's offside. Baker. Houghton. Villa. That's a fairer contest. Villa once more. Difficult to see a Tottenham player who was asking for the ball. And here's Shannon leaving Miller. And he was a little more hasty than one has seen him in the past. If he was going to chip the goalkeeper, he didn't really set himself. Clements well forward. Baker, Keegan, Armstrong at the back of the area, and it's there, deflected there off Steve Penniman, I think. So with 7 minutes left, it's 3-2. And that goal has been on the cards for some considerable time. And Clements infuriated, as I imagine Keith Birkinshaw will be. And certainly he now very much the more worried of the two managers. Laurie McManamy now on the bench alongside John Mortimer. Well, these two teams played a 4-4 draw last season. And it's so difficult when you're on the bench and things are going wrong. Two minutes left, and here's Huddle. Who'd be a manager? It's a chase for Keegan. Nothing too artistic about that clearance. Crowd anxious for the final whistle. Chance here for number 4, and number 4 for Roberts. It will be handball. And the referee, applying the letter of the law, will have to check his spelling of a Yugoslavian name. It's almost as though he was just saying that he understood what he did, which anybody who has any feeling for football must do. There was nothing sort of vicious or unpleasant about it, but it was obviously a deliberate foul, and it denied Roberts, and therefore a booking. And Huddle to take. Well, Huddle obviously thought it clipped Katalinic's head, and Katalinic did duck out of it in the end. Another look at the watch, and it's the last one. And Graham Roberts' hat-trick is worth the 3 points, which is tough on Southampton for their second half performance, when Tottenham had considerable problems. In the days of 3 points for a win, we could perhaps talk about that as being a match of 3/3, because at the start Tottenham found it difficult to break down Southampton. In the middle they had a really purple patch, and in the last third they were struggling, perhaps feeling the effects of their exertions in Europe. But in the end, all 3 points are theirs, and all 3 goals were scored by Graham Roberts.
Graham, for you there's a special satisfaction that your first hat-trick ever was against Southampton.
Yes, it was really, because this morning I trained, and then I came back to the hotel. We got these 2 lads, and they're sort of sports psychologists or something like that. And I sat down with one of them, John, and we went through a visualisation. And we went through when I scored against Southampton at the Dow. And we talked for about half an hour, and then he went back, and I went right through the goal I scored down there, and he said it'd be nice if I scored today. And I had to score 1, then score 3 today, so it must work for me.
And against your hometown team?
Yes, it was really, because of I've always had satisfaction playing against Southampton, and because they let me go a long time ago, and today it just crowned it all, really.
Which of the 3 goals gave you the greatest satisfaction?
The last one, I think, really, from the hat-trick, because I was going one to my left, and then I saw Alan Ball trying to close me down, so I just turned sharp, and I saw the space and I hit it. I think it hit a bobble in front of the goalie, really, so but that was my hat-trick, that's what it really pleased me.
Well, what a day indeed for Graham. And if my arithmetic's right, and if the psychologists concerned hold a visualisation session with him before Spurs' next game against Southampton, he should score 9. And I hope it's on Match of the Day too. Well, I personally wouldn't be against Roberts getting his place in the England squad in view of the shortage of proved talent in the centre of the defence. But I would warmly recommend for Ron Greenwood to think about Steve Perryman too. Like John Hollins, the older he gets, the easier he makes the game look. He's a born competitor and has a range of quiet passing skills to suit every occasion. I like the way he nursed this attack up the right wing, showed the patience that's necessary. Often he gets into this attacking position, but as he used to be a midfield player, he's no stranger to the opponent's penalty area or the position wide on the right, which gives Spurs the width that enables them in the end to get a shot at goal. This time he picks out his man with an outside of the foot flick. But the space that's been created there, in the end, gives Archibald the chance to turn and take a whack and hit the target. The second interesting thing about him was the way he turns this extraordinary moment of skill from Hoddle, no danger yet, into decisive danger for Southampton, because that first-time touch there was devastating and gave Archibald the chance to penetrate the penalty area. And once again, his capacity to play the ball quickly, to see the target, and with exactly the right touch, he puts Galvin in possession, who burns Katalinic's hands. Well, that Spurs win knocked Southampton off the top of the table to be replaced by Swansea, who won 1-0 at Wolverhampton. And it also gave Manchester United the chance to make up some ground at Meadow Lane against Notts County, who, in their first season in Division 1, have experienced both triumph and disaster. Your commentator, John Motson.
14 years ago, when Notts County were languishing in the 4th division and Manchester United were winning the European Cup, this fixture would have been a fairy tale. But 3 promotions have put the league's oldest club back in fashion, with their centre-forward Ian McCulloch a prime reason why Notts County have surprised so many people in the 1st division this season. The managerial partnership of Jimmy Cyril and Howard Wilkinson has also been a major factor, and today they make 3 changes. Don Masson returns at number 4 after injury. Ian McParland at number 7 replaces the injured John Chidozie, and at number 10, Trevor Christie is preferred to Paul Hooks, who is dropped after being sent off last week. Manchester United keep the side that lost very meekly to Coventry on Wednesday. The only injured out, Brian Robson, passed a test this morning, but with Lou Macari still hurt, Ron Atkinson is running out of attacking alternatives. Having said that, Gary Birtles has scored the winning goal in United's last 2 away matches. Notts County manager Jimmy Cyril taking his seat. The referee this afternoon is Mike James of Horsham in Sussex, and Notts County in those distinctive black and white stripes, playing from the right on a very heavy pitch, and indeed it's still drizzling at the kick-off. Been plenty of rain in Nottingham this last week. Martin Buchan for Manchester United, who've won 3 of their last 4 away games. It was Frank Stapleton who was fouled, but after losing at home in midweek, United know that something is vital in the way of a result from this match to keep their championship hopes moving along. Gary Birtles, Steve Coppell, who started on the right, and it's Pedro Richards covering for Notts County. He's their captain. That was Christie with Moran, and Moran's got a blow in the face. He suffered 1 or 2 of those this season, Kevin Moran. Meantime, it's Birtles trying to make things work and losing out. Here's Harkouk. McParland's begun a run. The tackle was by Wilkins. And Brian Robson for Manchester United looking for Stapleton. That's a fine ball. Birtles trying to support him in the centre. It's Stapleton, and a save by Abramovich, the goalkeeper, making his 100th league appearance today for Notts County. The Yugoslav coming to narrow the angle against Frank Stapleton. Brian Robson supplied the pass. Coppell with the corner then. The header was by Christie. Here's Albiston. Now Wilkins. Moran is still well forward on the right-hand side. There he is. And he got that back, and Robson's there. And Abramovich somehow scrambled that ball round the post when Brian Robson was on hand, and it just appeared to need a jab over the line. The referee decides that the goalkeeper was fouled, but it was Kevin Moran who stayed forward and supplied a very firm cross. There's Moran. Wilkins beating Masson and looking for Stapleton. Good piece of play by Frank Stapleton. Here's Gidman. And Birtles is coming in, fine save. Gary Birtles applauds the cross. John Gidman supplied it. Birtles a snap header, and good reactions again from Radi Abramovich. That's Birtles again. Here's Albiston, leaves it for Wilkins to shoot. And he's due a goal for Manchester United, having not scored one for his club for nigh on 2 years. It was April 1980 against Tottenham. Promising start here by Manchester United. Clearly at the moment preferring to play away from home, which may seem a strange thing to say when you think of the Old Trafford tradition. But there's no doubt the players feel under less strain when they're on visiting grounds at the moment. Benjamin to Richards. Here's Wilkins. That's also a good ball, and Koppel is closing in, and that's hit the post and gone in. After 10 minutes, Steve Koppel puts Manchester United in front, and it's well deserved. Only his 4th goal of the season, but Ray Wilkins, the skipper, capitalising on a very good start for Manchester United, getting the ball in, and Koppel taking his chance, a snapshot against the post and in. Here's Stapleton. And it's Birtles, and it's open again here. Birtles very much involved in this early flurry of United's. Plays the 1-2 with Moses, who gets the free kick. A nice ball, Wilkins to Moses. Birtles. Offside, I would have thought. Koppel put the ball into the net, but I think Stapleton may have been the player, certainly as far forward as him, if not further. Certainly the linesman flagged for offside. So Manchester United, a goal up already. Might well have made it 2. Masson. And McCulloch. And Harcook, and Christie! Good save, Bailey. Mayer sliced it completely. McParland's in there now. Well, Christie with the first clear chance. How well Gary Bailey blocked that. Then it came out to Gordon Mayer, who completely sliced it. And finally it was McParland away. Here's McCulloch. Oh, it's a good run by Ian McCulloch. He has got a lot of ability on the ball. And possibly a chance to edge into Jock Stein's World Cup 40, who knows? A Scot who used to play for Kilmarnock but has really developed here at Meadow Lane in the last 2 years. The opening 20 minutes here belonging very much to Manchester United, moving the ball about most comfortably. Warren to Wilkins. It was Koppel who got the better of Benjamin and came inside again, and forced to turn it round, but a linesman's flag denoting that another Manchester United player was in an offside position, which disappoints Steve Koppel. Masson, who hasn't had too much of the play, goes for the whole Notts County midfield. Here's Wilkins. He's one of the reasons why. So is Robson. Oh, and Stapleton's pulled away just to his left, and here he is, Stapleton, and offside. It wouldn't have mattered had he put the ball in the net, because although Robson came through well and appeared to release the ball at the right time, Stapleton was flagged offside. Well, the men bound for Bilbao with England were the pulse of Manchester United's first half performance. Steve Koppel, the goal scorer, and good play in the middle of the field by Brian Robson, and also by the United captain Ray Wilkins, giving them a deserved lead at half-time here. So the importance which Ron Atkinson attached to this fixture when I spoke to him at the team hotel last night, borne out by the performance of his team in the first 45 minutes. United very solid, very determined, and expressing themselves freely up front. Wonder what Notts County can offer in reply in the second half. him was Harcook, and the player who brought him down was Robson. A free kick to Notts County, who have worked hard this season on their set pieces and may be able to conjure something up from this. And that's Harcook, and it just looked as though it might go underneath Bailey's dive. But the goalkeeper got behind it just in time. An hour of the match played then, and Manchester United still good value for their one-goal lead, although they must feel with so much of the play, it really ought to be more. Gidman. Masson for Notts County, who've yet to prize Manchester United's defence apart. Certainly they haven't had a sustained attacking spell, Notts County, and Moses with time to bring John Gidman forward here for United. That's Harcook at the back, and Koppel has made it 2. It was Gidman who fed the ball in, Harcook who blundered, and Steve Koppel who volleyed his second goal of the afternoon. Well, when your luck's out, that can happen. And Steve Koppel presented with what for an England player was a most acceptable chance. 2-0 then to Manchester United. A side clearly relishing playing away from home at the moment. And Notts County very much in need of an early reply here. Tristan Benjamin coming forward, fouled by Wilkins. Played in for Kilcline to get up, and there might be a chance for McCulloch. Well, there was, but he missed it. After Kilcline had caused a little bit of confusion in the air there. On the chest of Stapleton, here's Benjamin. Wilkins is enjoying himself this afternoon. Everything he's touched has turned into something productive for Manchester United. And Gary Birtle's working well also. And of course Koppel, the scorer of 2 goals. Wilkins looks now for Gidman supporting the attack once more. That's Koppel's cross, and Stapleton! Frank Stapleton's first goal in 9 games. Ron Atkinson off the bench, his side 3 goals up. John Gidman again supporting the attack on the right, but Steve Koppel got the ball in, and Stapleton met that with a firm header ahead of his marker and buried it for a 3-0 lead in 64 minutes. Very satisfying afternoon for Manchester United, especially after a home defeat last Wednesday. And Notts County, who were punished to the tune of 6 goals here by Aston Villa in the FA Cup, are now facing quite a heavy home defeat as McCulloch tries to pull one back. Well, it's the United fans that you can hear. And no wonder. Masson. And every time Notts County push forward, look how they get caught on the break. And Steve Koppel is on a hat-trick. He's got Brian Robson in the centre, and Abramovich makes the save. Koppel perhaps caught between shooting and playing it square. Ron Atkinson still wanting the concentration to be maintained. Oh, look at that from Benjamin, straight to Koppel. That was a present. And Birtles going through the inside left channel. Stapleton making ground far side. Oh, made ground, but didn't quite make contact with what would have been a flying header. But where the goalkeeper is, he's way out there. Well, he's from Yugoslavia, so maybe Barota's not the only one who can get involved in outfield play. Don Masson. And now Harkouk lifting it out at last to McParlin, who hasn't seen much of the ball. Albiston, the defender, with him. This is Mayer. And now, oh, and Harkouk went in there. Well, Notts County hadn't had the ball out to the right for quite a while, and at last they made some play down this side of the field. The cross was good, and Harkouk, who must be feeling now he's made some amends for his mistake, which gave away the second goal to Manchester United. The defender hurt as he tried to intercept was Kevin Moran, and not for the first time this season. He's going to need stitches, I fancy. Anxious expression on the face of Ron Atkinson, whose side have not looked in trouble very often, but now concede a goal and give Notts County hope, and also lose their centre-half. So Notts County's best crowd of the season, just over 17,000, at last see the home side produce something. Here's Koppel, and here's Albiston. Birtles in the middle, so is Stapleton. Birtles! Let's look at the blood there, and obviously a very stunned Kevin Moran being led away by Jim McGregor. Pedro Richards carrying it. Don't think we shall see Kevin Moran returning. Koppel looks meantime for Birtles, but just for a moment the shift in play then, with Notts County for the first time in the match having something to bite on. And at the moment Manchester United down to 10 men and waiting to get their substitute on, Scott McGarvey. Benjamin. And Richards. And Masson. And Harkouk. Brian Robson, I would imagine, a candidate to go into the back four alongside Martin Buchan when they finally decide how to reorganise. Because McGarvey, the sub, is a striker. Here's Benjamin. Although nobody's gone alongside Buchan as yet. And here's Mayer. Richards. Here comes Kilcline. Offside. Just looking at the Manchester United setup there, you see Brian Robson has gone back now, hands on hips, to fill in alongside Martin Buchan. He's played centre-back before, and coming on now when the referee is notified is 18 years old Scott McGarvey. That's on by Birtles for Stapleton, and the return ball could have been on. McGarvey's coming up instead. That was out, I fancy, from Tristan Benjamin. Corner. Birtles trying to get the flick on. Koppel again. Flags up, I think, on the far side. Brian Robson's finished it off, but the flag's up. An offside, wiping out what would have been Manchester United's fourth goal, as Brian Robson came in to put the ball in the net. And now McCulloch making a strong run in the inside left channel, being marked by Robson, and it flew across too far for Christie. Good break by McCulloch. Notts County at last finding a little panache, which they were sadly missing earlier in the afternoon. 3 players waiting in the centre here for United. They're trying to improve the angle a bit. It's Skidman to Wilkins, and they can work a position perhaps to the left. Koppel, Orbiston, Stapleton trying to shake off Benjamin's challenge. Wilkins, Stapleton, and still McGarvey missed it. Birtles! Well, Gary Birtles might quite easily have had a hat-trick. In fact, he hasn't scored, but Frank Stapleton wriggling his way past Benjamin. McGarvey might have had his first goal in senior football there in the league with a missed kick in the end, and Birtles put it away from the goal. The dying embers now of a match mostly dominated by Manchester United. And United intensify their championship challenge with 3 very useful away points, thanks to 3 goals. Ray Wilkins, arguably the man of the match. Steve Koppel scored 2 and made 1. United putting behind them a bad midweek result to win well here, and Notts County on this showing with some work still to do if they're going to consolidate their position in the First Division, because for the most part this afternoon they were outplayed, especially in midfield, and the United fans will go home happy with that 3-1 win.
As a result of that win, Manchester United stay 3rd, but the new leaders are Swansea, whose 1-0 win at Wolves takes them a point clear of Southampton, off the top for the first time in 7 weeks. Liverpool and Ipswich, who both won at home, move above Arsenal, beaten 1-0 at Coventry. Spurs are best placed, though, just 7 points behind Swansea and having played 5 games fewer. Manchester City dropped from 6th to 8th after being held 1-1 by Everton at Main Road. That match exploded just before half-time when City striker Trevor Francis was sent off by referee Derek Civil for allegedly butting Everton's Billy Wright. Wright said Trevor definitely made contact with his head, and Everton manager Howard Kendall backed that up by saying Wright has a small cut under an eye. But the Francis version differs. He said, "I went for a 50-50 ball with the Everton keeper and I pretended to butt Billy Wright. I never actually touched him, though." Kevin Keegan also finished the afternoon somewhat frustrated, although his problems were off the field. After the game at Spurs, Southampton's captain was amazed when a steward refused to let him go into the players' tea lounge without a ticket. Keegan, we are told, then refused a ticket offered to him by a supporter and stormed off. I must say I have sympathy for both parties in that situation. Kevin, because he's the best-known face in football, the doorman, because he has a job to do. Well, now for news of the story I mentioned at the start of the programme, that 21-year-old Argentinian star Diego Maradona could be joining Arsenal next season in a staggering £4 million transfer deal. I spoke to Arsenal manager Terry Neal a short time ago and he flatly refused to be drawn into discussing it. But tonight it's understood that Labour MP Mr Ton Lawney has tabled a Commons question demanding legislation to curb excessive transfer fees and calling for a government inquiry into this case. But the big question is, would Arsenal be allowed to buy Maradona, assuming they could afford him? At their recent seminar, Football League chairman called for a 2-year ban on the signing of players from non-common market countries, and that is almost certain to be ratified at the league annual meeting in June. Oh, and the final word is that Boca Juniors have just denied that they will sell Maradona to Arsenal or anyone else. Their secretary said negotiations have taken place. Absolutely not. We are not selling Maradona to anyone and haven't even talked about selling him. Looks to me like a storm in a teacup. Pools and no jackpots this week, I'm afraid. With 11 scored draws and 3 no-score draws on the coupons, no claims are required and the dividend forecast is moderate. The score draw numbers 3, 5, 10, 15, 25, 31, 35, 37, 40, 47 and 52.
Well, just a reminder that there's international football in Sports Night on Wednesday next, the France versus Northern Ireland game and England's diplomatic warm-up match against Athletic Bilbao. Sports Night at 9:25. Well, that's all for tonight, an exceptional programme in some ways. I personally cannot in a million years imagine Trevor Francis butting anyone, and I'd have Kevin Keegan home to tea any time. But overriding today's misfortunes was the performance of Graham Roberts. And I don't imagine, even when he was bang in the middle of his visualisation session, that he foresaw, as a natural defender, push forward to midfield in an emergency, that he'd end up with the match ball for scoring a hat-trick. And 3 goals might easily have been visualised as 5. Good night.
Got away. Huddle. Roberts! And he might just get it. He has! And he found the way through because of the bender. Roberts.